All right, this is a real short video about the literacy narrative. This is your first major paper for this class, English 101. And I want to talk just a little bit about what the literacy narrative encapsulates. I'm not going to talk about like the page numbers and how long it should be and everything. All that's in the assignment, but let's just talk about the literacy narrative itself. So when you read ones like Sherman Alexie's and Malcolm X's, you're going to get some different samples. And Sherman Alexie is a great sample. It talks about him as a young kid and becoming literate. And that's what you're basing your sample off of, are these literacy narratives that we have here. So, an example. Okay, when I was a kid back in the 80s, I was reading a lot of like young adult, these little tiny skinny chapter books and such. And I read voraciously. I still do. I just read a 400-page book this weekend. And so what happened was, I think it was probably about 1986, 1987, we were going on a trip. My siblings and my dad and I were going to go to Virginia Beach camping for a week. And my mom had to stay home because she had to work. And she was a nurse, so she had to stay back and work. And so she went out to the department store. And this is back when you used to buy books at department stores. And I usually don't now, but every now and then I do run into something. But she went out to the department store and came home. And she said to me, hey, she said, I got something for you at the department store. She said, I think it's time. And I'm kind of like, okay, I don't understand what that means. I was probably, I don't know, 12 years old. And she handed me 2 novels. Okay, now remember, I've been reading these little skinny, like R.L. Stine and Christopher Pike. These books, maybe 80, 90 pages, supernatural stuff like that. Really enjoyed them. And she handed me 2 books. And she handed me Carrie and Christine. If you're not familiar with them, they're 2 very, very wildly popular novels by Stephen King. And I took them to the beach. And both of these books are between probably 600, 700, and 1,000 pages. And I read them and I burned through them over the beach. And then I came home and I said, okay, what's next? And I started reading more Stephen King, and I started reading bigger and more complex books. And eventually it led me to becoming an English teacher. And so that's kind of my journey right there. My journey of literacy is her getting these 2 books for me before I left for the beach, and how they kind of changed my trajectory and ended up being a teacher because of it. So in your literacy narrative, how did you become literate? As you're a family from another country, when you got here, you had a special teacher that taught you that you really resonated with? Was there a situation where you had some sort of mentor, or maybe you struggled? It could be a family member. You don't have to have a mentor relationship in your literacy narrative. Mine just did. So it really just depends. Really hope that helps clarify the literacy narrative. Again, this is the first major paper. And so I want you to spend some time with it. Really do work on it.